Desmond? How are you doing? Okay, so this one for today, I just thought I would keep it open. So it's Q&A. I had some things to talk about this week, and I had some topics here that are like loosely floating in my mind that I might end up discussing, but I really want to focus this morning on your questions. So get them entered into the chat. Let me know where you're at, and I will start going in. All right. So what do we want to talk about this morning? So let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're representing. So it is Q&A session. So get that where I can push that live. All right, there we go. Let's do it like this. All right. So again, just let me know in the chat where you're at. If you have any questions about how to rap, I just want to keep it open today. Talk about what you guys want to talk about. So we are here, rocking through. So I'll wait for some questions to come in. I just kind of want to recap what I discussed this week. So we started with how to start freestyling this week. And let me look over. Actually, I can probably show you guys this. So I'm looking at just my notes from, there it is, how to start freestyling. That's what I was talking about, like the first stream. And I just want to see if there's anything that I may want to add. So kind of recapping how to start freestyling. Really, I think a lot of it depends on your background. And I think the main principle I'm getting at with how to start freestyle rapping is start where you're at. So do you come at it from a music background? Are you coming at it from just a lyrical background, meaning like you just, really enjoying the poetry of it? And really, you start where your interest lies. And let me see some approaches, gibberish raps. Yeah, so ways to start gibberish raps, read with rhythm, list and rhymes. Main points, just start with a goal of 21 days straight to get into it. I guess the other thing I'll say about when you're starting out freestyle rapping is you're going to do better than what it feels like because it's so new to you. It's going to feel like a lot of work. And sometimes when we're beginning something and it feels like a lot of work, that colors our interpretation of how well we're doing or not doing. So just know that just because it's taking more energy in the beginning to like think of rhymes or just kind of keep going, it will get easier the more you do it. And the best thing I could say is just keep your expectations of yourself really low when you're starting. Meaning, if this is like the next week when you start freestyling, if that's like the very first time you start freestyling, just complete one rhyme. Make that your goal. If you complete more than one, awesome, you exceed. But if you're able to complete one rhyme, one simple, there's a cat, I'm wearing a hat over a beat, feel good about that as a start. Because I'm really learning more about habits and how they work on the neurological level and the mental level. And in order to make a habit, you have to you have to after you perform the routine or whatever it is, the action that you're doing, you have to make there has to be an immediate reward. It has to feel good. And a lot of times with freestyling, I've seen this with my students so many times, is that they I've even had kids who, like, it's their first time freestyling and they're actually like able to do at least 4 bars, putting rhymes together, staying on beat. But because it feels so new and so unusual to be able to like just speak in the moment like that, and they're so nervous and people are around and all that, after they get done, they don't really recognize or reward themselves for what they did, and that kills any chance of that becoming a habit. So if you really want to freestyle rap and you're just getting started, reward yourself every time you do it, no matter what you think of it, no matter if you think it's the best or the worst. Just give yourself props like, yep, I did it. Another practice session. I put it in. So, all right, let's see. We usually got some folks in by now, so let's see what's going on. Let's check up here. So again, this is Q&A today. Did it to me again. Did it to me again. All right. Okay, we're going to try this another way. It's hard to do a Q&A if I can't see your comments, right? So, yeah, we're going to move this, and let's see. All right, y'all. I'm going to deal with this so I can get your comments up. I'll be right back. And so I can see if you're here. So just hang out with me. We're going to get these comments in so that way I can see the chat and be able to respond to your questions. So let's do it. Okay. All right. So I got it set up now where I should be able to see the live chat. It won't be on the screen though, but I'll be able to check out the questions and respond. So, good morning, William. See you there. So it is Q&A Friday. Q&A Friday. So if you got any questions for me, shoot them out. I will do my best to address them. How's your songwriting coming along, William? And let's see. So again, just need your questions. Come along good. All right. What what could I address for you to help you out with it? And yeah, just folks watching, it's Q&A Friday, open session. So, I have no real big agenda planned here. I'm just responding to what y'all throw out. So it's kind of like a freestyle cipher in that regard, where it's like, I need your energy, need your thoughts, need to know what we are dealing with. And here's a question I'll pose to you, and you can just let me know in the chat. Like, what's your biggest challenge with just learning how to rap? Is it freestyling? Is it rap writing? Is it just dealing with other people? How does it feel to tell somebody that you're rap, you're into MCing? Well, they may not even know what MCing is, but do you feel confident about that? Are you like, yes, I'm a rapper, that's all good, or something like that? So the question is, how do you rhyme the words mad and sad? Rap writing? So they kind of already rhyme. Are you talking about like how to create lines with them? Because they already sound like each other. So that's the... Because if you're talking about like, sometimes when we say rhyming too, how language can be, there's like the technical, definition that's like rhyme, words that sound like. And then there's how we use it, slang in the street. Like rhyming is, it's all about, we can call rapping rhyming too. So if you're talking about it in that context, what I would say is that really to even put two words together, like similar words, you just have to add meaning to each of those words. And if you're trying to do it in like writing, you probably would like them to make sense. So there's some coherency, so people can kind of follow along with it, and kind of follow your train of thought, if you will. So, luckily for words like mad and sad, that seems to be like they're both emotion words, so they both have that association in common. So you can just speak to the fact that they're in common. So, what's your next question, man? So, yeah, how do you make rhymes with the rap? Yeah, I think that is it right there. You get your list of rhyming words, kind of I guess that's one way that, I don't know if I guess it works for freestyling too. I was, towards the end of the school year, well, not the end of the school year, we're kind of towards the end of the school year now, but before we left and had to shut down campus for quarantine, one of the security guards, he raps, is Jay. I can't think of his, I'll find it, but he's on Instagram. Really dope MC. he happens to be a Christian. He's dope, and he's like a Christian MC, so it's positive. And he was like working with our Black Student Union, and we were like composing a rap for the multicultural assembly that was going to happen but didn't happen. And he had this technique of like how he started writing his raps, and basically he started with the rhyming words, and he would like list a whole bunch of words that rhyme, and if there was a topic he would also kind of like think of words in a topic and list like rhyming words with them, and then from there he would just kind of go and create sentences for each line, and after that he would edit the sentences to make the flow tight, to make it fit the beat. And that's like a really simple way to get going with this stuff as well. And what I did to adapt it for like freestyling is, so every Friday we had our cipher club. It's a freestyle rap cipher club during lunch. And what I started to do is to write rhyming words on the whiteboard. And so that way people will at least have those words in front of them to be able to use in their initial freestyles. So that was one of the ways that we would make it a little bit easier to be able to kind of get started, and to, because I think that's a lot of what this is about. It's kind of like lowering the learning curve in the beginning, because usually the first time you hear somebody rap, it's like, a professional, it's on a track, they're performing, and they've put so many times and so many years into their craft, being like, to be at the top of their craft. And you get inspired. You're like, yeah, I want to do that. And then when you go to do that, you have no clue how to get started. So part of what this is about, and I think a lot of, the tutorials and things that you can find online, is just about finding the easy on ramp to get started. So, whatever, if you're struggling with coming up with rhymes, I would say, go find some rhymes to kind of put in front of you, like literally like put them on the wall or put them on a piece of paper, and just start creating sentences every day in the moment. And you can literally just say them out loud, or you can like write them down if you're working on writing. If rhyming is easy, but like coming up with stuff to talk about is hard, then I would suggest you would focus on writing a little bit every day. And I mean, that could be as simple as like a one sentence journaling every day, just to kind of get an idea of like, what are the things that are on your mind that you want to talk about. So that's, because once you identify like, okay, these are the things that I want to talk about, then you put them into your rapping and your rhyming, and it makes it work. So, all right. So I think I've addressed that. How do you make rhymes with the rap? Yeah, because that kind of the way that question is worded too, it's a little broad, William. Like, again, like if you're talking about making specific lines, then we're getting into, so you'd have to kind of identify the issue a little bit more with that. So, all right, let's keep on rocking. Let me actually do this. So there might be some questions. So again, this is Q&A Friday, man. So just let me know if you have any questions as it relates to how to rap, how to freestyle, songwriting, mindset. Let me know where you're from. Even if you don't have a question, just let me know, like, hey, where are you watching this from? I like to know where people are at in the world right now. What time is it where you're at? So let me know, but I'm going to look up some things. So common questions that I'm seeing. So let's go to, all right, let's see what we got. things that I might want to touch on quickly. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's go with. Yeah, so I think a lot of how to get started. I want to touch on this question. All right, Josh, I'll touch on that one, I guess, instead. Should I freestyle for 20 minutes as a warm up? I would say yes. If that is easy for you to do daily, or, more days than not. If you want to like take a couple days off, that's fine. But I would say whatever, the more you can practice, the better. But you want it to become, you don't, okay, how to say this too. So, Josh, if you already like freestyle, like, okay, you know that you're into it and you're just trying to get better, then most likely freestyling for 20 minutes is not necessarily an issue for you. I will say that it also depends on your situation. Like, I'm married, have a kid, and have like a lot of areas of responsibilities. So carving out a solid block of 20 minutes consistently is a challenge. Like, I mean, I could do it in the morning, but then I'm freestyling at 5 a.m., while people are trying to sleep. And that doesn't work. And my child is like 2 years old. So what I would say is like, whatever that you can consistently commit to, then definitely do that as a routine, as a way to just keep your skills sharp. And then when you say as to warm up for what exactly? That would be my second question about that. If you're just trying to warm up your voice, then I think that's good. If it gets you hype, like say before a show or performance or something like that, before recording, I think that's good. I think anything to really get your energy right for what you're about to do. So I'm curious to what do you mean by warm up for what? Turn down for what? Warm up for what? That's kind of what that makes me think of right there. All right. William from Maui. Nice. Okay. Common questions that I get. Oh, I want to address this one real quick. And I might even do a more informal talk on it later. Is, am I too old to rap? And my answer, quick and simply, is no. You are not too old to rap. I think here's the thing to keep in mind about rapping and like in hip hop music and even hip hop culture is that it's a young culture, and it's now getting to the point where like, the legends' children are getting into the game, right? Like, but if you think about it compared to like other forms of expression, other genres of music, jazz, rock and roll, all those things, like, there's like a whole history of like, there's eras of people who are doing it. And we've proven and seen that, hip hop is not a fad, that it's here, and it resonates with people. And the only way is it starts to become a fad if it's only associated with like, a certain time period. So I would say that for those of us who are really about the culture and about the craft, you know, I'm going to be rapping until I can't anymore. I'm going to be freestyling. And, I believe everybody should rap. I believe it's good for your brain. It's good for your, you know, especially freestyling. It's just good for being able to master the moment. So I think being able to like show up no matter what your age and drop some bars is a good thing. So you're never too old to do it. You're never too old to express yourself. Having a career, touring the world, like there might be a time where, you may not do that, but I think that's more about the market and who you're performing for than necessarily your age. So I think it's a harder sell the older you get, but it's definitely not impossible. So I just say keep doing it. I'm teaching skills for life, so I'm not teaching people just how to be hot in the moment. Like I want people to be able to rap for as long as they want to, and have community and be able to vibe with and enjoy. So, all right, we got some more questions coming in. So Josh Adams says, when I warm up, I mean the first 20 minutes of the freestyle would be okay, or not that good, and after the 20 minutes, maybe I'll be warmed up enough to flow is good. Oh, I think, all right, I like that idea. Okay, so I'm reading all the comments and trying to just take one in here. So I would say that the idea of warming up, so 20 minutes to warm up, and then after that, your flow is good. I would say that, like, it kind of comes to something I was saying earlier, even for the very beginner, it's still a lesson that's true for people more experienced, is that trust that you are doing better than you think. Like, no one's inside your head when you're freestyling for that first 20 minutes, like thinking about, like, seeing like all the things that you are meaning to say but you don't say, all the things that you're trying to rhyme that you don't rhyme, all the things that, like, oh, I keep saying this over and over and over. Like, no one hears that stuff. That's just you making you feel like your first 20 minutes aren't good. And then the last 20 minutes, when you feel like you're good, you're more inspired. You've actually probably have let go of that extra processing of judging yourself to actually just enjoy what you're doing. And so I would say that in this particular case, I would just shrink that warm up time. The sooner you can get to a point when you're freestyling and you're just enjoying what you're doing, and you're letting go of feeling like you have to judge whether it's good or not, then the byproduct of it is, if you enjoy what you're doing, you feel good about it, you put more energy, you have more energy for it, your brain thinks better. When your brain thinks better, you rhyme better. But it starts with, like, not giving so much energy, mental energy, to judging whether your first 20 minutes are good or not. So I hope that makes sense. So in this particular case, shorten that time frame. Try not to, first minute, your first time going in, like, that should be like, oh yeah, just have fun, just enjoy, and go from there. Now, if you're working on a particular skill when you're freestyling, then that's a little bit of a different conversation. It's not really about enjoyment. Like, now you're actually practicing the craft. You're practicing a skill that relates to freestyling. Multi-syllable rhyming, my example. Not using filler phrases. Like, if you're deliberately practicing something in a freestyle session, then the enjoyment piece of it is less than if it's like, all right, I'm just rapping just to feel good, So that's where the crafting comes in, is when you start deliberately working on stuff. So let's see. Machiavelli's 75 Bali, you say, can you please tell how to study other rappers' flow and everything about other rappers? How to do that? So, like, quickly and broadly speaking, I'll just say that it's good to listen to other rappers. one way to do it, and the way that we have to do it as MCs is you have to take away your subjective opinion about what you think of their style and what you think of their content, right? And then really just focus on the objective, basic mechanics of what they're doing. So what I mean by that is any rapper has a cadence. So you can figure out what their cadence is. And regardless if they're talking about what they're talking about, you can tell if they're saying it like in triplets, or they're saying it in straight eights, or combination. Really, it's a combination, right? Like you can listen to the words and then turn those words into does and scat it. And then that's how you start understanding their cadence. And then you can take that cadence and then put your own words to it. So that's how you start understanding like the cadence of a rapper. Notice their rhyming words, right? Like what are the words that they rhyme? And you can even, go through, listen, write down the rhyming words, and then rewrite your own verse using the same rhyming words. I actually have a drill on this channel that does that with some rhymes from Eminem, right? Because again, the words themselves, the rhyming words themselves are really just a small part. It's everything you say before the rhyme that gives us its context, so you can switch that up to change it. You can listen to just their, I'm going to say their melody, and yes, singing melody for sure, but also just like the melody and tone at which they speak, right? So really, I think it's just like being an analytical listener, a critical listener. So there's times when you're listening to rap music and you're listening to any music just for the enjoyment of it, like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool, that feels nice, da da da, or I don't like this, blah blah blah. But everything you listen to, if you're trying to really study it, then you have to start being able to listen for each part and then wonder how those parts work together. That is, so that's kind of my short way of that. And I think like Lyricology does a great job of like doing like the bar by bar breakdowns, and what I really like about what he does is like he actually goes into like the meanings and interpretations. So you may agree or disagree with interpretations, but at least he's talking about that piece of it as far as like the layers of meaning that are in some of these bars. So check that out. And you just got to learn to start listening like that. So yes, it's about what they're saying on one layer, but it's also about how they're saying it. And there's a lot of things that go into how they're saying it. So let me see. You're welcome. Appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna wrap up on this one because I'm a little bit over time, but I want to say this for you, Josh, as far as like how to freestyle for hours. Okay, I'll give you two things right now, just based on the questions you asked me earlier. So the first thing to be able to do is the sooner you can suspend your judgment. It's kind of like stories, right? Well, I guess they say suspend disbelief in stories. I'm saying suspend your belief that you're not good, right? And even suspend your belief that you are good. Like, just let go of that, right? And place your focus on just enjoying the fact that you're doing it, right? And if you're going for a particular time for like an hour per se, then, and just keep that clock going, keep that beat going, and just, all that matters is that you make it to an hour. And it doesn't matter if it's the best or the worst, because you're not worried about believing if you're good or believing if you're whack. Your goal is just to continuously talk with rhythm and rhyme for about an hour. And because what we're trying to untrain is the habitual response of the emotion to get down and want to stop when we feel like something's not going well. You can break that habit, right? If you can break that, then the other piece of it is always have something to say, always be generating ideas. And the flow webbing video, that's a really good drill for that. It's a written drill, but what you'll see that it allows you to do is really focus on like the first principle of idea generation. Like, you know, in a conversation, you don't think of every single word that you're going to say. You have like a flash of like an image or a word or like a point or even a feeling, and then you're speaking your way to that, to those ends. And so if you just focus on like potential connections in single words, single ideas, then you practice just always generating ideas, always having something to say. I see the mic makes me think of sound, the sound makes me think of pound makes me think of dogs being locked up, makes me think of puppy pound, makes me think of the dog pound from Compton, which makes me think of corrupt and Daz, and Daz makes me think of Daz band. Like, I can just keep doing that. I'm not freestyling, right? I'm just giving you association after association with rhyme, with an opposite, with illusions. Like, there's all these things that I can just keep going and going and going with it. And once you're able to just trust that you can always generate an idea and have something to say, and you're willing to let yourself say whatever it is that you need to say because you're not worried about believing if you're good or believing if you're whack, you're just trying to meet the time goal, then you'll be able to flow for as long as you want. And I think that's why I even titled that first video back in the MC Mind days, how to freestyle forever, how to flow forever. Because if the well is always full of ideas, then the only thing that stops the ideas is just, what we put in front of it. So, and the expectations, the things, that's what stops it. So, all right, y'all. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for coming through. Speaking of like showing up when you don't feel like things are going well. What I'll say is, so tomorrow will be the last May morning flow, and it's going to be our drop and chop session. So we're going to have I want you to be able to drop into, there. You're welcome. Appreciate that. I want you guys to be able to come in, get some free coaching through the channel. I mean, it's going to be a live stream. I won't get into all the technical ways of doing it, but basically it's like, think of it like as a call-in radio show, but it's a live stream. So you'll basically get a chance to be on the channel, on the Ryan Masters channel. We'll chop it up about the craft. I'll answer some questions, give you some my best pointers and tips for your situation. And yeah, it's fun. We did last it's actually, the video's up there so you can watch it. Had my man, I want to say Jermaine. Oh man, I need to review these things. I'm sure it was Jermaine. He came through from Philly representing, had some dope knowledge to drop about battle raps, and we chopped it up about freestyling in a little bit. So if you want to be a part of that, I'm trying to have more than one. I'm actually just trying to like be able to talk to as many people as possible. It's going to be from 8:30 to 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. So that's here in Portland, Oregon. That is what we'll do it there in the morning. And I'll have directions. Hopefully, when I make the event for this, I'm going to try to get the directions, like a link to the directions. So you'll be able to go to the channel, actually go to the link and be able to sign up for the Zoom call. And then I'll basically just kind of like get people in there, chop it up, keep it moving, chop it up, keep it moving for about an hour or so. So that is what we're going to do. So the drop and chop session tomorrow, 8:30 to 9:30. It's basically free coaching. And normally I charge usually charge about $60 for an hour of one-on-one coaching. So come get some small coaching for free. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. So check me out tomorrow, 8:30 to 9:30. I'm right here on Rhyme Masters on YouTube. And until next time, just remember, it is never about perfection. It is just about connection. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Deuces.